My cheating wife betrayed me and I had no pity for her. Now karma has ruined her. I have recently started to wonder if my wife might be cheating, but I am not sure what to do from here. I have no concrete evidence, so I don't want to confront her or bring it up in case nothing is happening, or to avoid having her hide things better. It's just been small things and a gut feeling. About 4 months ago, she began working out more and became much more interested in her appearance. She is very attractive but never really wore much makeup or styled her hair elaborately. She has also started being protective with her phone, which I know is a concerning sign. Normally, we freely use each other's phones, but now it never leaves her side, and if I ask to use it to take a picture, she tells me to use mine. She has also been staying late at work more often and has taken a few more out-of-town business trips. In the past 4 months, she hasn't initiated any intimacy and only gives me brief kisses. I tried to initiate a few times, and she either rejected me or was unresponsive during the act, which made me feel worse than an outright rejection. I brought up the lack of intimacy a while back, and she attributed it to exhaustion from being a mom, work, and working out. She promised to try to do better and kissed me that night, but nothing has changed. I've wondered if it might be some kind of midlife crisis. There's a guy at her work I suspect could be an issue. My wife used to talk about him a lot but stopped mentioning him a few months ago, although I know they still work closely together. He is married with kids and has mentioned having marital problems. I met him briefly a few times, and he seemed to ignore me. He isn't as physically fit as me, but he dresses well, is outgoing, and likes to drink, which is something my wife occasionally wishes I would do. I graduated from high school, and he has a master's degree. He also earns significantly more than I do. I train fighters for a living, which I love, but it doesn't pay much. My wife believes I could earn more in a different field. She's not obsessed with money, but I understand her desire for financial security. Recently, my wife took a work trip to a tropical resort with just this colleague and the CEO. In my mind, I worry that she spent a lot of time with this colleague. I want to confirm my suspicions but don't want to cause issues by accusing her without evidence. We've had a good overall marriage, despite a few ups and downs. A friend suggested I start gathering evidence discreetly, but I'm uncomfortable invading her privacy. If she is cheating, I can't imagine staying with her. I'm deeply involved in my kids' lives and the thought of seeing them only part-time is heartbreaking. Any advice on how to handle this situation would be appreciated. Update 1. I accessed our cell phone account and noticed many late-night texts to a specific number. I plan to find out who the number belongs to. After discovering this, I felt emotional and upset. Last night, I tried to initiate intimacy, but she declined, citing tiredness and a headache. We discussed our connection, and she promised to improve, as she did previously. This morning, she mentioned a potential girls' trip to Vegas with college friends I haven't met. I'm starting to see a pattern, but I'm still unsure. I finally did some snooping and looked at the detailed cell phone records online. I noticed that there were texts to one number made in the middle of the night, amounting to hundreds. I called the number from a pay phone, and it went to one of her coworkers, the one I suspected could be trouble. I managed to access her phone while she was in the shower and found that the text conversation with this number was the one thing deleted. Also, that guy's number was saved under a female's name in her phone. I am now very worried about the out-of-town trip she took where this guy was present. I had to leave the house to cool off. I managed to compose myself enough to come home, but I don't know what to do from here. If I confront her with what I have, she will probably explain it away. I am uncertain whether I should try to gather more evidence quietly or confront her sooner. I am really angry. I am furious at her but also feel a strong urge to confront the guy. It will take everything I have not to do that. I am worried that she might admit to inappropriate flirting, and I won't have enough evidence to get her to admit to everything. Any advice on when to confront her? I am planning to stay awake during the time she usually texts him, then interrupt her and ask who she is texting to see if she lies to me. Update 2. Last night, after everyone went to bed, I pretended to be asleep and waited to see if she would get out of bed to use her phone. Sure enough, a little after midnight, she got up and went into another room, closing the door behind her. I waited a few minutes, then quickly opened the door and walked in, saying I couldn't sleep and asking what she was doing. I caught her mid-text and stood over her too quickly for her to delete anything. I saw her slowly try to hide her phone. She said she couldn't sleep either and was texting a friend. I had a plan and immediately put it into action. I moved closer to her, started kissing her, and asked if she wanted to be intimate. As expected, she declined. So I began laughing and playfully tickling her, joking that she must be more interested in the friend she was texting than me. Then I playfully wrestled with her to get the phone. I could see the panic in her eyes. She tried to retrieve it, but I turned away, holding it out of reach, laughing and pretending to have fun. I told her I was going to call this friend and ask if she was interested in my wife. My wife exclaimed, "Please don't call her." I started walking away, pulled up the text messages, and saw one that read, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I pressed the call button, and after what seemed like an eternity, the guy answered. Unprepared for what to say, I just hung up. I then began reading the text aloud in front of my wife, asking her why she was sending these messages to a guy at night. She said she didn't know. I asked if she had anything to tell me. She remained silent. Then, I told her that I had seen the cell phone records and knew everything about her late-night texts with this guy. She started crying and apologizing. I remained calm. I explained that the next few minutes were crucial and that if she didn't tell me the complete truth, there would be severe repercussions. She admitted to flirting with her coworker, who was having marital problems, and said it escalated to flirting. She claimed nothing physical happened. My fear was that she would only admit to what I already knew. I told her that if she couldn't be completely honest, she needed to pack a bag and leave. She agreed, crying and apologizing. Before she left for her mother's house, she asked if I was going to leave her. I said we would discuss it later, as it was late. She left, and I haven't seen her since, though she has been trying to contact me, leading me to turn off my phone. My plan is to find a marriage counselor and make an appointment, pretending to want to work things out until I can use the counseling to help navigate the process of separation. I recorded the entire incident last night as a precaution, in case she tried to make false accusations. I checked with a friend, and he confirmed that recording in our state is legal. I don't believe she would make false accusations, but I want to be cautious, especially as an ex-fighter and trainer. Any accusation of abuse against me, given my size and background, could be devastating, particularly regarding custody of my children. Therefore, I plan to record all our interactions as a safeguard. I am completely heartbroken. My family is falling apart, and the thought of missing 50% of my children's lives is devastating. Although I suspected something, I am still in shock. The most challenging part is that this is just the beginning. I want to confront the other man but need to control myself. He referred to me as the animal in one of the texts, and I know he's intimidated by me. Despite not having a college degree or a high-paying job, I pride myself on being intellectually curious and well-read. I may not be the smartest person, but I am certainly not unintelligent. I will try to update as things progress. At this point, I'm not sure what advice would help. I am Update 3, I appreciate all the support I have received through this ordeal. I am going through a lot right now and wish I had the time to respond to the advice and words of encouragement sent my way. To update, my attorney friend recommended a lawyer specializing in family law. Not only that, but this lawyer was also cheated on, and these cases allow him to exact revenge, according to what my friend said when recommending this lawyer. He will be very flexible with his fees and genuinely wants to help. Maybe this is a positive aspect. Now, on to the other side, my wife admitted to the affair. She told me it started as flirting, then turned into an emotional affair, but claimed it never became physical. I saw right through that, and she finally admitted it did turn physical, coinciding with the time she ceased intimacy with me. I received more details than I thought I could handle. It was a very passionate affair. To say this has really affected me would be an understatement of the highest degree. I am wrestling with my emotions and struggling to keep a thought in my head. I told my wife it would be best for her to stay with her mom for the time being, while I take care of the kids, ensuring they have stability at home. My attorney is working his magic in the meantime. Being in the house is a big advantage, according to him. I have also not told her that our marriage is over. She will find that out when she is served with the papers, which will be soon. I can't stop the intrusive thoughts of my wife and this man. I coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for professional and semi-professional fighters and am trying to give them as much attention as I can. The physicality of my job has been helpful. Obviously, I am also focusing a lot on my kids. Outside of BJJ, my passion is learning about new topics. I normally read for a few hours each night to unwind. But lately, I haven't been able to focus on even a paragraph. After seeing that they referred to me as a stupid animal, I can only imagine the other things they may have said. This situation has really affected me. I have always been a happy person, but the joy is just gone. On another note, since the word has gotten out about what happened, many people have offered to assist in any way they can. It's definitely comforting to feel supported. Several of my friends' wives have taken initiative, saying they know beautiful women who are interested in my impending single status. I won't be dating until this is all over, and probably not for a while after that. But knowing there are options out there is comforting. I think I will be okay. Right now, it's all about the kids. I will try to update soon. My wife is distraught and pushing to stay married. I know I can't get past what she did, so staying together would only delay the inevitable. Update 4, life has been chaotic, but I wanted to log back into this throwaway account and give an update on my situation. I had discovered my wife having an affair and also found out that she thought I was stupid and a loser for not earning a high salary. I filed for divorce, and it should be wrapped up next month. We will have 50-50 custody, and she will be paying spousal support since she out-earns me by a large margin. That's the current legal situation. Now, on to the other fallout. I am heartbroken, as are my kids. I never thought I would be a single dad, but here I am. My wife seems to be spiraling into some kind of depression. The man she cheated with decided that she wasn't worth the trouble. From what I am told, she has started drinking and going out with a lot of random men that she meets online. There have been more than a handful of times where she called me and begged me to take her back, so she can have her old life back. Part of me wanted that, but I have stayed strong. After she found out how much money she will have to pay me every month, that seems to have made her angry. My kids don't understand. Every second they aren't with me, I feel miserable. I am also lonely all the time. I haven't spent much time with friends and mostly just stay home. The girl that works at a coffee shop I frequent even asked me if everything was okay because I look sad. I guess I am not hiding it as well as I think. There are people I know who want to set me up with women they know, but I don't want to do it because I feel like I am branded as the guy whose wife cheated on him. It has been so long, I have no idea how to date. I had a few fighters do really well on a pretty public stage, and that has been the only sparky I've felt in a long time. I really don't know what I will do next. At some point, I need to snap out of it and move on. I just haven't reached that level of motivation, though. I did have somebody I know get in contact with the other man's wife and show her the proof I had. I just couldn't live with nothing happening to him. I am not allowed to go after him, so this was the next best thing. She didn't believe it at first, but then I heard about there being major marriage issues for them. As far as I know, they are together but on the rocks. I have a lot of anger over everything. It is crazy to think how life can be. One positive thing that has happened is that I met a girl through some friends that I am interested in. I haven't asked her out or anything, though. She is stunningly beautiful but is about 14 years my junior. I don't know if that's a major issue, but it is a pretty big age gap. Given what I have been through, I think my confidence has really been dinged. I feel like she is too attractive for me. She might actually be, I suppose. But I have been thinking about her a lot. So that's been the last half year of my life. I have to say, it has been the worst I have ever felt. I have always been a very happy person, but I just feel dark and gloomy now. Final update, long story short, I found out my wife was cheating on me with a coworker, and then I divorced her. Having been with her for about 15 years, saying my new life has been an adjustment would be an understatement. I do have moments of sadness or loss, but those are fleeting. For the most part, I feel great. My kids are doing well and are with me a lot. After the divorce, my wife had to take on more accounts at work to pay for her new single living situation, as well as spousal support to me. She earned a lot more than I did. When the pandemic hit, I had a flexible schedule, so I was able to keep the kids with me and do homeschooling. Since my job involves physical contact with others, the pandemic has slowed that down. There aren't many opportunities for my guys right now. So, in a way, it's been like I'm a stay-at-home dad. I took some time to myself after the whole ordeal. The younger woman I was interested in took a long assignment with her company in Europe. We stayed in touch through technology. After her assignment ended, she came back, and we have been together ever since. She loves me and my kids. She is an extremely compassionate and considerate person. Before we were introduced, I was told that there was an amazing woman resembling Wonder Woman and that she was the nicest person you could ever meet. I thought it was too good to be true, but she is absolutely the real deal. I think there will probably be some next steps in our relationship soon. Things for my ex have not really worked out. She started drinking and hooking up with random guys she met online. Having to take more accounts has also taken a toll on her. Just in the last few years, she looks like she has aged 15 years. She was always pretty, but the last time I saw her, she looked ragged, as if her life force was depleted. A weird thing to say, but that's what it looked like. Her best friend told me that she is miserable and hard to be around. I don't think I will ever understand how a person seemingly happy and in control of their life can spiral into such a dark place. My ex's friend also told me that she never thought I would leave her after the affair. I think she felt a sense of control over me because of her high income. So, the affair had consequences that she didn't anticipate. I do hope she finds peace, for my kids' sake. Other than some challenges due to the pandemic, things are great. I am so glad I immediately ended my first marriage, rather than dragging it out. I knew I was making the difficult decision, but that it was the right thing to do. Then I just grinded along. I have no problem inching a little forward every day, knowing eventually I will get through. If you are in this situation, you need to think about things in the long term. You might feel devastated at first. Then sad. Then depressed. Then hopeless. But no matter what, you push ahead, work out hard every day, too. The key is to try to do one thing every day that improves you or adds to your skill set, not self-help stuff, but real skills. I got into making short films of the guys I train and learned about videography and editing, which has been a fun hobby. I read more books to learn about all sorts of things. I just tried to do something every day. Small things add up over time. You just need to make sure you are putting in the work and let yourself be patient. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Am I wrong for not inviting my siblings to my wedding? My sister, 34F, and her husband, 36M, just got married 3 months ago. I, 30F, was appointed Mo. I was so excited to help her plan her wedding and I took on most of the work since I was unemployed at the time and she's a doctor. I won't get into details but take note she didn't have a wedding planner. It was all me. The time leading up to the wedding, I was miserable because of how the bride treated me. I felt like her own personal slave that she felt she could kick around because she's the bride. Just because you're a bride doesn't mean you get a free pass to be a bitch. Many times I wanted to just step out of the wedding party, but I kept telling myself to just bite my tongue and keep the peace because she's probably just stressed. After doing so much for her, she refused to invite my fiancé even if we've been together for 12 years, but invited my siblings' partners who have been around for only 2 to 3 years. My sister and her guy dated for a year before they got engaged, so we don't really know him too well. She said she didn't want my fiancé around because people would be asking about my own wedding since they've all been wanting us to get married for a while. I refused to do any more work for her wedding until she apologized to me and invited my fiancé, which she did. Not exactly sincerely, but whatever. I was hurt she wasn't even grateful for anything that I had done for her in her dream wedding because it was expected of me to help. Cut to the day of the wedding and everything was fine. The ceremony was beautiful and the couple was happy. I was happy for my sister. By the time we got to the reception venue, I noticed that my fiancé and I were on a separate table from my family. They were at the VIP table and I was cast aside to sit at the furthest table right beside the kitchen. I figured there was a mistake and I calmly asked the bride about it since she handled the seating plan. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "There's no mistake, that's where we belong. At the kids' table and far away." We were seated with 7 to 14 years olds. The groom overheard us and agreed with me but kept quiet when my sister gave him this "don't you dare disagree with me" look. At the end of the night, the groom apologized to my parents for what happened to me and said he had no clue his bride did that. But he didn't say a word to me as his bride told him not to. Because of this, I decided to not make an issue and just try to enjoy the remainder of the night with my partner, but I wouldn't make a speech. My parents noticed where I was and got upset at the situation as well. My siblings knew very well I wasn't at their table but didn't bother looking for me or wondering why I wasn't seated there. When they heard I wasn't making a speech, my 2 brothers walked to my table to tell me off, saying I had to understand my sister and the stress of being a bride, be nice to her because it's her special day and you're only a bride once, yeah right, I bet they'll divorce, that I'm a disgrace and a disgusting disappointment for not doing a speech for my sister, that I would make my sister sad and I was being selfish making the night about me, when I was literally quiet in our corner. Needless to say, I wasn't having the best time. So we got up and left. We ended up in McDonald's for dinner and I posted a story of us getting burgers saying post-wedding meal. I made sure I posted it after the reception ended to not make it look like I ditched, but my siblings saw this as an attack to my sister somehow. Up to this day, the bride says she did nothing wrong and her reasoning for putting me there was, 1. I didn't plan her wedding exactly like she envisioned during the process, so I deserved to sit there when I was doing everything she told me she wanted. 2. She didn't like that I looked pretty in my gown, and 3. I needed to be punished for insisting on bringing my fiancé. I didn't plan for my own wedding yet as I wanted to be 100% focused on hers, plus she banned me from getting married before her since she's older. Again, because I didn't want the drama. I agreed, but now I just don't want anyone there except my parents and a few close friends. My parents agree with me, but my siblings are upset, calling me childish, but to be completely honest, I just don't feel like paying for shit people. Mine is a destination wedding and my fiancé and I are paying for everything. These are our savings and I don't feel like splurging on these people. They, along with my grandparents and cousins, are all saying I'm wrong. But hey, if I was excluded from being a sibling at my sister's wedding and no one cared, then why would you be upset if I excluded you in return? Relevant comments. Echo Azure, Op. Wedding planning issues aside, one possible explanation for all this is that your sister really dislikes your fiancé. OP. In regards to my fiancé, there's nothing he did to her to warrant being treated so rudely. We started dating when we were quite young and I, as well as my parents, love him very much. He was my best friend for a long time and still is my favorite person to this day. My sister always hated that I had a boyfriend before she did because she believed I would never get married because of my disability. I am epileptic. Her husband was her first boyfriend and she married him right away because she wants babies ASAP, since she's already 34 and her goal was to be married before 30, to the point that she started planning and booking vendors even before he actually proposed to her. So basically, she's pretty insane. Her actions are always based on jealousy and the fact that I shouldn't be able to have things if she hasn't had them first because she's the eldest. I.e. boyfriend, engagement, wedding, kids, etc. That's why she said I couldn't get married before her because it was already a slap in her face that I got engaged younger than her. Basically she hates that I'm happy. She doesn't hate him, she hates me. Update. Hi again. So I'll answer a few questions and leave a quick update. I, 30F, come from a family of 5 kids. I failed to mention this because I didn't think it was all that relevant, but I actually have 2 sisters, 34 and 32, and 2 brothers, 26 and 22. A little more on my sisters. They're the best of friends. They're the picture-perfect model of sisterly love. While I'm the middle child with 2 younger brothers. So why did I agree to be Mo? Well, because I thought it would bring us closer. In my mind, I believed that this was her trying to be more of a sister to me. You always hear stories of that sisterly bond around weddings and I tried to nurture that because that's what they had. And that sibling bond is what my brothers had with each other as well. Any chance I'd get to connect with my sisters, I'd jump at the opportunity. It's more me just feeling left out than being a doormat. I was a very sickly child, and that is why I was mostly with just my parents growing up while my siblings would be going out, meeting friends, etc., which is what my siblings envied apparently. They aren't close to my parents. Bride had both of us as Mo because she couldn't choose just one. I later found out that I was always the second option and I was just appointed Mo, so I'd do all the work while other Mo got all the praise. Which in hindsight, I should have seen coming. While my brothers were busy harassing me about giving my Mo speech, sister 2 was giving her own Mo speech about how she absolutely loves the bride and will do anything for her, all that CRP. She then conveniently calls all the siblings to the stage to toast the bride and groom when I was crying and rushing out / walking away from my brothers. So did the other relatives in attendance. I was making a scene and making it about me. No, it's not the first time she hurt me, fat shamed me as a child, calling me a potato, saying things like I was a burden to the family because of my epilepsy, throwing all my makeup in the sink and wetting it because I moved her bath towel in the bathroom, calling me the stupid low IQ sister even if I'm a licensed architect with a master's degree when her guy friends wanted to ask for my number, taking my dream church from me, which is why fiancé said we could do a destination wedding at my dream country instead. It's just the worst she's done to spite me in front of my entire family. And no, we still haven't spoken since then, and she still maintains that I was the one who ruined everything by getting upset about the seating. Now for the update. We will elope. Just us two and a handful of close friends that were there for us since the beginning of our relationship. We'll have a small church wedding and a little celebration on the beach with the people we love, our chosen family, followed by island hopping with our entire party around the Philippines. All paid by us. Because I will spend on memories and experiences for people that love and appreciate us. The budget we set aside for a wedding in Italy will be put to an intimate 5-day wedding celebration on an island in the Philippines. 2. We will have our reception with the family when we get back home. The plan is to invite both our big families to a luncheon the weekend after. Collectively, this would mean about 80 guests max. Both our parents wanted to help pay for the engagement party and rehearsal dinner. They agreed to pay for this luncheon / reception instead, meaning they could invite whomever they please. They handle the guest list, so if my siblings are invited, I couldn't care less because I'll be too busy with my husband of 1 to 2 weeks by then. Here we can still have the father-daughter dance and a few other things like cake slicing, etc. We'll have piñatas, a brick oven pizza cart, coffee and pretzels, and an amazing Italian buffet with a pasta bar, lots of fresh fruit and cheese, because who doesn't like cheese? As for seating plan, ever watched Mamma Mia 1? Yep. Think that. A long winding table where my siblings can be as far away from me as possible, and as close to the service area as possible without it being obvious because they'll all be together at their own siblings' table. We'll be in the center with my fiancé, his 2 brothers and our parents will be next to us, while my wonderful sibs are by the end of the table, by the restrooms, where they belong. I don't care at all if they're invited to this lunch because I really have nothing left for them. Not even anger. I'm just so done with them that I'd feel more for a stranger on the street than I would for these people. It's indifference. They've hurt me so many times that I'm numb to their existence. 3. No bridezilla allowed. My sister expects to be my Mo in return. Definitely not going to happen since my siblings won't be present in the ceremony. I do not need her around, I do not want her around. Yes, she will be invited out of courtesy to the reception most likely, but I will make sure she's set aside like I was. How so? We recently found out she's pregnant, so I'm planning my wedding around her due date. Oh well, luckily, she's due around June, which really was the month we wanted. So if she does decide to attend with a newborn and her hus, well then, she's going to be at the kiddie table and told to step out when baby starts to cry. In the end, our wedding day is for us. And eloping is the only way I feel like we could just sit and enjoy our special day together away from all my siblings and family issues. Then we get back, have a get-together lunch with some good food and good fun. Which is really all it is to me, a lunch. Luckily, fiancé's fam isn't as insane as mine is. So there you have it. Thank you all for your messages and comments and insights. I really was going a bit loco back then thinking I was overreacting, but thank you so much for the clarity. Cheers to the end of this emotionally draining year. 20. Outrageous_smile_996, but you will invite them to the party. It's like saying no matter what happened, come to my wedding. Sorry, but I think there is no way to avoid drama with these siblings. OP, thank you for the concern, but they aren't coming to the wedding, just a lunch after the fact, as in minimum 2 weeks after my wedding. They can do whatever drama they want during lunch because they'll be the ones who look bad and just laugh. I would have been married by then and done celebrating with my closest friends weeks prior. So by then I'd just be enjoying some pizza and wine with a huzz, victory hand. Angry, Op said they're jealous of the attention Op got for being sickly when she was a kid. Sometimes parents can become so preoccupied with a sick child that they wind up neglecting the other kids. If that's the case here, then the sibs would have good reason to be angry, but they're mad at the wrong person. Op didn't ask for any of this. Anyway, these people are adults and they need to get their shit together. They're old enough to realize none of this is Op's fault. OP, My parents were actually very supportive and did all they could to be as fair to all of us, so I really can't put fault on them. They're really amazing parents. I wasn't treated any different, I just didn't have many friends being absent from school constantly, so I'd hang with my mom. She's honestly my best friend. It was okay growing up, but the jealousy really was evident when we were in our 20s for whatever reason. Parents are allowed to be closer to one child if the others treat them like trash.